Good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, madam.
Yes, sir.
Reverend Ayodele, why have you muted yourself permanently? Okay. All right. Can we quickly have a of what we did yesterday? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Who is just a rundown of what we did yesterday?
This thing that I want to give yesterday.
Okay. Oladapo, you are the only one left in the class to answer that question.
We had examples. We gave the declension of the participles.
Okay. We did the declension of the forms of the participle, especially the present active, the present middle, and the present passive participles. And we look mostly as participles functioning as an adjective as well as a substantive.
Yes, sir. That's
good. Okay, so we are going to start from there today. This is where the part B of your video begins from, and here is my recap of what we did yesterday, and that is we look into the definition of participles. So who can remind me of at least one definition of a participle? Hello, is Collins in class yet? Okay, apart from that, we talk about the fact that participles are very plenty in Koine Greek and in the New Testament.
Yes, sir.
That's why they call Greek a participle-loving language. A participle-loving language. And then we look into the various functions of the participle. Now, we are going to look into the adjectival function of the participle. Now, remember that when the participle functions as an adjective, that means it is the noun characteristic of the participle is being emphasized. So therefore, it has to agree with its noun in gender, in number, and in case.
Okay, sir.
So remember that nouns have gender, number, and case. Now, even when it functions as an adjective, the participle can also be used substantively, can be used. We explained what substantive usage means yesterday, that is when the participle functions as the subject of a sentence.
Yes, sir.
And though we look at examples yesterday, we are still going to look at one example now, or luon, which will mean the losing man. We use man because own is a masculine form of the participle. It can also be translated as the man who loses, or he who loses. So we need to be very, very careful about that. Now, there is a very important instruction for us to follow, a very important rule to note, that whenever the adjective is used, whenever the participle is used as an adjective, then you have to follow the relative translation. The relative translation. So that,
Good evening,
what did you say, sir?
sir. Very good evening, sir.
You have a question? Oh, okay.
No, sir. I was greeting, sir.
Collins is just coming in. All right.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
So let's go on and look at further examples. Okay. Collins, read sentence 1. Reverend Oladapo, read sentence 2. This is Oni, read sentence 3.
Okay, sir. Legon tauta o anthropos.
Sentence 1.
Sir?
Sentence 1. Begin from the beginning.
Okay, sir. Legon.
Is that Legon? Check what you are reading.
Okay, sir. Sir, I'm not seeing the page on the screen, sir.
You are not seeing the page on your screen?
Yes, sir.
Are you using a phone?
No, sir. A laptop, sir.
Why should you not see the page? Adjust your laptop. There are 2 words before Legon.
There is nothing on the screen, sir.
Nothing on your own screen.
Yes, sir.
Reverend Adedapo.
Nothing on this. I'm using the already downloaded one that you sent.
Okay, all right. Okay, just hold
Not on my screen, sir, I swear.
Okay, that means I am not sharing. Sorry. Then I need to share. Sorry, I wasn't sharing the screen. I wasn't sharing the screen. Sorry about that.
Yes, sir.
We cannot see it properly, sir.
Okay. All right. So,
yes, sir.
how can we call it?
Yes, sir. Blepo ton legonta tauta.
Blepo
Ton legonta tauta.
So, translation.
I see the one who is saying these things.
Now, the use of who is the relative translation.
Yes, sir.
Of that. So, and the relative translation is used because legonta, it carries the definite article, which makes it an adjective that is used as a substantive in this sentence.
Yes,
okay,
sir.
Reverend Oladapo.
Blepsa ton legonta tauta.
Eblepsa. So, eblepsa is what? What tense is eblepsa?
Aorist.
Aorist. Aorist. Thank you. Translation.
I saw the one who was saying these things.
I saw the one who was saying these things. Now, ton legonta again takes the relative translation who. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
I think you can know the difference in the translation between blepo and eblepsa.
Yes, sir.
Do you remember what we talked about yesterday when we were talking about the relationship between the participle and the action of the main verb?
I saw the one who was saying these things.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Now, you will discover that in this sentence, you didn't see that. And that is because the participle is not in the aorist. It is the aorist here is our main verb.
Yes, sir.
Do you get it now? Okay.
Jesus.
This is for me.
Blepo tos Legonta tauta.
Blepo, choose, legonta, tauta. Translate.
I saw the man
The,
who
the,
I see the man,
is that man?
or I see the men who are saying these things.
I see the men who are saying these things.
Or
Or
I saw those who are saying these things.
these things. So why are we using plural? Because of
Thoughts.
use. Okay. Mr. Moses. Mr. Moses, are you still there?
Yes, sir.
Okay, take the last sentence.
Les pots sont adinfort, tes legonças, dauta.
What form of participle is leguses?
I think it's a family.
It's a feminine, and it's also feminine what?
Nominative. Okay, accusative.
Accusative. Okay, so translation.
I see the brother of the woman
I
who is
see the
saying,
brother of the woman.
who is saying these things.
Okay, that's fine. So let's go on. What we have done here is to bring out the relative translations. In its function as an adjective, the participle may also be used as an adjectival modifier. Now, when participles are used as adjectival modifier, then the participle will be in the attributive position. Now, does anybody remember what we mean by attributive position? Does anybody remember attributive position? Hello? Attributive position will occur when the participle carries the definite article. Remember, we studied, when we are studying adjective, we studied about the attributive use of adjective, predicative use of adjective, and substantive use of adjective. So, now, let's look at this example. O legon apostolos and O apostolos, O legon. You know, those two phrases means the same thing. And those two phrases are attributive position because legon is carrying the definite article. However, when this is used in Greek, they will use the longer form where both the noun and the participle will be carrying the definite article. So translation here is the apostle who is saying, or the saying apostle.
Okay, sir.
All right. So another example or a full example of a sentence, or apostolos or legon tauta, the apostle who is saying these things. See again, your relative translation is coming out. So this brings us to a very important issue in the function of participles. When the participle is in the attributive position, it carries the definite article and it will be given a relative translation. I have said that severally. Now, when the participle is in the predicate position, it will not carry the definite article and it will be given a temporal translation. Temporal translation is something like while or as. So let's look at these examples. Eblepsa ton apostolon legonta tauta. Eblepsa ton apostolon legonta. Remember that legonta is our participle. In this sentence, it is apostolon that carries the definite article. So this construction is not in the predicate. So we are going to give a temporal translation. I saw the apostle while he was saying these things. Or I saw the apostle as he was saying these things. Now let's look at this one now. This is the attributive position. Eblepsa ton apostolon ton legonta tauta. I saw the apostle who was saying these things. So that is the difference between a temporal translation and a relative translation. Now, before we go on, let me stop sharing. Let me take questions for now.
Sir, can I ask a question?
Oh, Jesus.
Hello, sir.
So, who is confused? Mr. Idene?
Yes, sir. The last example you gave to us.
The
Can we
last
go back to that slide?
Okay, you want me to bring the slide back?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I noticed the
Jesus.
Okay. What? All right.
okay, the last example.
Yeah.
Sir, ton apostolo legonta tata.
Wait. If you
And
are
the
reading
last
the
example.
before, there is storm before legonta.
Yes. The arrangement change the interpretation
The arrangements.
or the presence of article ton before the apostolo
Yes.
change the interpretation.
Yes. Not before the presence of the article before the participle change the translation. Because once the participle carries the definite article, that means the participle is in the attributive position.
Okay.
Without the article, the participle will be in a predicate position.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Okay, good. So let me come back and let's take our questions again. I just need to stop sharing. Okay. Any other question before we begin to look at the various forms of the article? Murphy,
Sir?
where is your confusion?
Sir?
Where is your confusion?
Sir, I'm really confused. I don't know what to ask for now.
This is follow me.
Sir?
This is Sony.
Sir,
So, where is the confusion?
I'm just joining the class today after a long break.
Yeah,
So
after a very long break. And I'm sure during that break, you did not touch Greek at all.
I'll follow suit. I'll understand.
I know you will, because you don't actually have a choice but to understand.
Because Mr. Murphy just said my mind. The question is so much, I don't even know where to start.
Now, let's start from somewhere.
I don't know. You know, when you don't even know where your problem is, but you have problem. And
Let's see the center of your problem. Maybe we'll be able to diagnose.
Jesus.
let's continue. I don't want to Draw
Right
it
now,
back so much.
don't worry. If it's going to help us, there's nothing wrong in doing this. And by the grace of God, I'm giving you 2 tests tomorrow.
Jesus.
So I'm just joining class with you.
Yeah, don't worry. We will take the objective 10 questions. That's going to be for just only 20 minutes. We will take the essay question.
Essay.
Yes. The only thing, everything you need to read is in the lesson notes and in those videos. I'm not going to go outside them.
Hey, Jesus.
And the 2 videos put together is roughly 35 minutes. Mr. Oyedele, you are opening your mouth. Don't run away from class tomorrow. Reverend Oladapo,
When will that be, sir?
don't run away from class tomorrow.
When will that be, sir?
The test.
Time.
One is likely to come up between 8 and 11.
In the morning.
Yeah, in the morning. So it will be a cup of coffee.
Sir, can some of us do it after maybe past 4 because of you know have access to that and the
Okay, should we put the test in the evening?
Yes.
it's better,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yes. Sir.
I will put the 2 tests between okay, I will put the multiple choice between 4 to 6. It's only going to be 20 minutes.
Okay, sir.
And I'll put the essay between 6 to 8.
Okay, sir.
That one you may need to spend roughly, I put 1 hour. It's just going to be 2 questions and you are going to answer the 2 questions. I put 1 hour, but if you are very fast, 45 minutes, you should be out.
On lesson 2 or 1 and 2?
And everything is going to be, I make sure everything is going to be on lesson 2.
1 and 2 lessons.
No, just lesson 2.
Okay, sir.
Just lesson 2. Okay. So let's go back and what we'll be looking at mostly now are the forms of the participle.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes?
Just if there could be a little reflection on the previous study. Just
Are you topic 1?
We just spoke now about participle as a predicate and as a
participles are in the predicate position and in the attributive position.
Yes, sir, but you also mentioned something like as a substantive.
Yes.
And now I'm thinking that when is the definite article, that should be when it operates as a substantive of a sentence.
Yeah, good. Now, let's go back very many chapters back when we studied adjectives. Do you remember your adjectives? Reverend?
Yes, sir.
Do you remember your adjectives? You know, adjective functions.
Yes, sir.
Adjectives can function 1, attributively. And when they function attributively,
yes, sir.
adjective carries the definite article. Adjectives can also function predicatively.
Okay, sir.
And when they function predicatively, they will not carry the definite article.
Okay.
Adjectives also function substantively. And when they do, they may carry and they may not carry the definite article.
Okay, sir.
Compulsory for a participle or an adjective functioning like a substantive to carry the definite article. But when it does, then you must recognize that it is carrying it.
Okay, let's continue.
All right. So let's look at these forms now. Now, these are the first aorist active participle. First aorist. You remember that we have two forms of aorist, first and second. So this is first aorist active participles. And we are taking our example from Luo. So we have Lusas. Let me first read the masculine. Lusas, Lusantox, Lusanta. And in the plural, Lusantes, Lusaton, Lusasi, and Lusanta. Take note of the change in plural dative. You know, it moves away from the usual NT to pick the sigma of the feminine form, just only at the dative. Now, in the feminine, Lusasa, Lusases, Lusase, Lusasan. And in the plural, Lusasai, Lusason, Lusasais, Lusasas. In the neuter, Lusan, Lusantos, Lusanti, and Lusan. Take note all the time that nominative neuter and accusative neuter in the participles are usually the same, both in the singular and in the feminine. So Lusanta, Lusanton, Lusasi, and we are back to Lusanta. So when this happens most of the time, always check your context so that you will know whether that participle is nominative or accusative. Now we are going to the aorist, first aorist middle participle. First aorist middle participle. Lusamenos, Lusamenu, Lusameno, Lusamenon. Plural, Lusamenoi, Lusamenon, Lusamenois, Lusamenus. Now the feminine, Lusamenen, Lusamenes, Lusamene, Lusamenen. Lusamenai, Lusamenon, Lusamenais, Lusamenas. And in the neuter, Lusamenon, Lusamenu, Lusameno, Lusamenon. Lusamena, Lusamenon, Lusamenois, Lusamena. Now, these are forms you have to go back and try to memorize so that you will be able to identify them when you see them in the text. Now, second aorist active participle. Now, remember in the second aorist, you can no longer use luo. So we are going to use lipo this time around. Lipo. So at the masculine nominative, lipon, lipontos, liponti, liponta. In the plural, lipontes, liponton, liposi, lipontas. In the feminine, liposa, lipose, lipose, liposan, lipomene, lipomenes, lipomene, lipomenes. And in liter, lipon, lipontos, liponti, lipon. Liponta, liponton, liposi, liponta. All right? Now, middle passive, you see it's the same manner. The only thing is your stem, lip, just join it. So once you understand your endings, it is going to be easy for you. Now, let's take a look at this. Now, it's very important for us at this point to look at the time and kind of action in aorist participle. Remember, because aorist kind of action of aorist is always what? Punctiliar. One short action. But the time of the action is antecedent to the action of the main verb. Now, once you are out of the indicative mood, the stress is always on the kind of action. Okay. All right, don't worry. Let's just go on. We should. The use of participles with or without the article is similar to that of present participles. So you can revise this again. And when you are doing your translation, good English expressions should be used. Now let's look at this. Loosas will be translated having loosed, or when he had loosed, or after he had loosed. Now, if it now carries the definite article, o loosas, the one who loosed, or he who loosed. Now remember, in the aorist, the action of the participle takes place before the action of the main verb. So let's look at some examples here. All right, let's read again, one after the other from, okay, the same order, Collins, Reverend Aladapo, Mrs. Oni, and Mr. Moses. All right, let's go on.
O anthropos epon tauta blepai ton kurion.
Okay, let me ask you a question. What is the main verb of that sentence?
Blepai.
Lepai.
Yes,
And your participle is what?
Kurion.
Epon.
How can Korean be your participle? Oh, okay, because you see ON. Remember that omega no. Yeah, this Omicron no is your sign of accusative.
Oh, yes, sir.
So,
Yes, sir.
Reverend, thank you. So your participle is ipone.
Yes, sir.
And ipone is your participle form of say.
Yes,
So
sir.
read the translation.
The man, having said these things, is seeing the Lord.
Okay, so it's like saying after he has said these things, the
Yes, sir.
man is seeing the Lord. So the saying is an action that took place before the seeing.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Reverend Oladapo, your sentence.
Epon. Tauta. Exelten.
Okay.
Eku oiku.
Ek to oiku. Your main verb is what? Exalten. You are right with your pronunciation the first time. Exalten. And then your participle is what?
Epon.
iPhone. Good. So translation.
Having said these things, after he had said, or when he had said, he went out of the house.
Went out of the house. Mrs. Oni?
O contas oi ton tauta and then egton oikun.
Elfen, ice, ton, oikon. Elfen, ice, ton, oikon. So your main verb is what? Mrs. Oni? Elfen, you are right. Speak with confidence now. And your participle is what?
Okay.
Your participle, ma. iPhone. See, our participle has remained the same. Sentence 1, sentence 2, and sentence 3. And most of the time, it's just the main verb that I change. So let's read the translation, Mrs. Oni.
The one who had said these things went into the house.
The man who had said these things went into the house. Good. Now, Reverend Mr. Moses.
Thank you, sir. O iPhone, Tauta, Elten,
Yeah.
Eif, Ton, Oikon.
Okay, and your translation?
The man who or he who had said these things went into the house.
House. Good. Thank you. So, the passive voice of this passive participle of luo, because it is, now remember, participle in the passive carries theta. So, we now have lutais, lutentos, lutenti, lutenta, lutentes, lutenton, lutaisi, lutentas. Remember again, in the dative plural, here, it went a little bit into the feminine side. So I'll leave you to read this on your own. Okay. This is talking about the passive, and we are not going to go through this way. And then the key thing to be noted here is your use of word must be translated within its context. Now, fine. I want us to ask questions now. We have 15 minutes more, and I want us to play a game before we go tonight. Do you know what that game is?
Sir?
Do you want to know what the game is?
Yes, sir.
No, sir.
Now, the game is going to be a very interesting game.
Jesus.
I'm going to open a passage of the New Testament Greek Bible.
Wow.
We are going to read verse by verse, one after the other.
Wow.
Is that the game, sir?
That's the game?
That's not the game, sir.
It's the game.
How do you know the winner, the loser, or how do you can discuss?
No, as we are reading
What's
the verse,
What's the
if
rule
we
of
are
the game, sir?
if you are lucky that a participle is in your verse,
Okay.
you win. And not just that the participle is there, you are able to identify that participle, then you win.
And what will be your reward?
Your reward,
Yes.
5 marks bonus in the test tomorrow.
Sir, you are only like that. Sir, you are only one gift too.
5 marks bonus in the test, especially in the test. Yes.
You are owing me one gift too.
Okay. Remind me after the class.
Okay, sir.
So are we ready for the game? Or okay, let me take your questions. Let's take questions for 5 minutes, and then we get ready for the game. Are we ready? Any question? I don't know why Reverend Ayodele has not been able to communicate with us. The same thing yesterday. All right, if there is no question, it gives me enough time for the game. Where's my Bible? Okay. All right. Who paused my screen share? Who is pausing my screen share?
You know me, so
Maybe it's Mr. Murphy. He's scared of it.
No,
I'm not the one.
Are you
I've
saying
not noticed that.
Are you saying okay? Resume share. Sorry, I saw it. I don't want us to use this one. Many people will know this one by head. Let's go into Ephesians. Ephesians. That's where we will go. Let me go to one of my favorite passages, Ephesians chapter 5, from verse 20. All right, are you seeing this very well?
Jesus.
All right. So, Murphy, read verse 20.
Hey.
Yes, sir. You carries to me.
Don't worry about the meaning. If you are able to read it, I doff my cap for you.
Okay, sir. Eucharis tuntes pantote uper panton en onomati tu kurio emon Yesu Christu to theokai patri.
Okay. Is there any word you can recognize there?
Jesus. Sir, let me look very carefully.
All right. Which words can you recognize that you know their meaning?
Yesu Christu.
I don't know the meaning of yes. You don't even get shame. All right. Reverend 21. 21. Yes, that's 21.
Protasomenoi.
Upotasomenoi.
Okay. Upotasomenoi. Allelois.
Allelois.
And Phobo Christu.
And Phobo Christu. Now, which one did you recognize? Now, I didn't ask. Murphy, is there any participle in verse 20?
Verse 20.
Yes.
Sir, let me look very carefully.
Okay, while you are looking, let me come back to Reverend Ladapo.
Okay,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Is there any word you recognize apart from Christ?
Phobo. In the fear.
Phobo.
In the fear of Christ.
No, there is no the, there is no definite article.
In
fear of Christ. Now, allelois, okay. What's allelois?
One another.
One another, good. Now, your keyword here is upotasemenoi.
Yes, sir.
Okay, don't use your memory of English Bible to tell me this.
I've already done, sir.
You've already done that. Good. Now, did you see any participle here?
Yes, sir. I think upotasemenoi should be a participle.
Upotasemenoi is a participle. Good. Good. Present, aorist, future, perfect participle. Which kind of participle?
We should be present. We taught it yesterday.
Yeah, it is present because of the menoi. Upotasemenoi, present. So, and that word actually means what?
Submit.
All right, submit. How would you kind of translate this verse, bringing out the participle?
Submitting to you. It is plural, actually.
Yes, it's plural.
Okay.
But you are right. You are right. Submit to one another in fear of Christ. Okay. So, Mrs. Oni, verse 22. Mrs. Oni, have you run away?
No, sir, I'm here.
Okay, read verse 22.
I go against twice. Twice. I got
Idios. I-D-I-O-I-S. Idios. Tois, idiois.
Yes,
Andrasin.
Andrasin oiton
Os
Korean.
Kurio. Did you recognize any word? Andrasin. Okay, what is Andrasin? Wives. Is wives.
It's sounding familiar, but I can't choose.
It's sounding familiar. Aigunaikais. And remember that is why your definite article is feminine. Wives, to your own husband. Andrasin is husband from Andri. Os to Kurio, like to the Lord, or as to the Lord. Now, let me just show you a very big secret here. In translation of the verse 22 of the Bible, this verse actually has no verb. Okay? Are you following me?
Yes,
Okay, sir.
There is no verb in this verse 22. This is the verb in verse 21, upotasemenoi, which we have translated as submitting. So what translators did is to bring this verse back to verse 22. And that's why most English versions says, wives be subjected to your husband as to the Lord. But in the real Greek, there is no subjected. Ah, 4 minutes more. Okay, Reverend Moses, take verse 23, and we are lining up there.
Oti, Anel, Anil, Esti,
Ecclesia.
ke- kephale,
Extinct
tes,
tes gunaikos.
gunakos, os,
Let me
kai,
put faster. Oti
o
aner
Christos,
kefale tes gunaikos os kai o Christos kefale tes
kephale,
ecclesias
tes, ecclesias, autos, soter, to
somatos.
tomatos.
Mhm. But the man is the head of the wife, as Christ is the head of the church. Hello?
Yes, sir.
Hallelujah.
All right. It's okay. That's the end of the game. Then Father for won the game because he's the only one that have a participle in his verse.
Mhm.
All right. So let's quit this. Let me stop sharing so I can see your faces. Did you enjoy your class?
Very well, sir.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you.
Okay.
Very well, sir.
3 minutes more. Any question or we say good night. See you tomorrow. Okay. If there is no question, it's fine having you. So this is the last class, happens to be the highest attended class. So
Yes,
make
sir.
sure you all go to your test from 4 p.m. tomorrow. Have a nice night.
Thank you.
Thank
Before
you,
you
sir.
good
Yes, sir.
night.
Good night, sir.
Good
Thank you,
night.
sir.